So what I want to do today is I want to prototype the interface. I think the more I think about these, I'm like, oh, to be honest, I wanna think through these from a first principles perspective. So maybe we would just maybe I would just start like a new session. But I don't know if I can. I can't choose. This is what I don't understand. I can't choose the so-called droid or something. No. So maybe. I'm not so sure if that's a good idea. What I want to do is, can I give it? I can't even give it Grok. Maybe I'll just do a bit of Grok. Okay, so I'm trying. Okay, so I'm trying to design an interface for a coding agent tool. The tool might even support multiple agents, but essentially I want to think from first principles. And again, it's for me, right? I mean, I'm not doing these as something that I want to resell or something that I want to sell to people. It's my thing. It's my agent. I want it to work the way that I prefer to work, because that's the point, right? Oh, nice background. I didn't notice that actually. There was some like stars if you leave the mouse idle for a while. Anyway, first principles and not make any assumptions like the need to open files, which is an assumption that most agentic workflows and tools make. For example, cursor is just a VS Code fork. Replit is just a chat embedded in a workspace with all the files and such. That's what I'm thinking. On one side, I'm thinking like a web interface. I'll do two things. So I'll actually open Replit, and maybe I'll see what Replit prototypes for me, and also what Grok says. But essentially, the way that this works is I'd like to. I mean, writing code is just basically. It's just basically what you write code, right? I mean, but you write code. Why do you write code in the first place? Because that's how you automate things. Essentially, you want to build stuff. Either you want to build something, or you want to solve a problem. By solving a problem, I mean, at least that's most of the stuff I do. Is like either I want to automate something that I do, or by using like code, okay, or I want to build something. Now the question is whether automating something and what about like a more generic thing, like just have that agent there as well to do research. That's more generic, but like, yeah, just kind of basically have an agent. We should focus on coding. We should focus on coding first, because otherwise it just goes wild. But the idea is right. This thing is going to produce code, and then I want to have a tool by design that does not encourage you to look at the code, but it encourages you to test the code. That's kind of the thing, right? So I think there is at least a dichotomy of building and verifying, right? So And so you might want to have those things as separate concepts in the tool. Yeah, maybe. So I want the tool to support essentially these two workflows. I mean, building, verifying, and using, really. There might be a third mode, operating, whatever it's been built, but that's something likely to happen outside the scope of this tool, because you'll be building a website, or you'll be building a program, or you'll be building something, but you're going to be using it. You're going to be using it you're going to be operating it like in its own environment, right? The thing is, this is your construction tool, not your operating tool. Although it's an interesting concept that to kind of have that notion of like, you've got the builder, you've got the verifier, and you've got the operator, right? So you're not just like building and verifying, but you're also really just running whatever you've done, right? All within the same tool, so to say. At least those modes, tool or not. Help me brainstorm a user interface that takes the above into consideration. So, and with Replit, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to actually open two instances of Replit. On one side, I'm just gonna let the model think, and then I'm just gonna also tell Replit just go and run with these. But also I'm gonna tell Replit here first, do the polish the prompt, and then see what happens. Okay. So let's see what happens. That's what we want to see, because this is going to be crucial. I mean, I just, like in the last video, just proved that it works, right? I mean, it just creates those files and whatnot. I'll look at what's built. We have to refine that process, right? Obviously, because it was just a quick thing where just build stuff, it just build files and whatnot. It did something I didn't even like try whether it worked or not, but it actually. Yeah, it actually output something. So I think that it's going to be okay. Agent craft is a workflow focused coding agent interface with distinct building, verifying modes, and change additional files. Yeah, exactly. Visual preview. Yeah, let's go. I want to just see the visual prototype. That's all I want to do with Replit. And here it does is a web-based interface for coding agent tool. Tools to support primary modes, building, creating, development, and verifying. Potential third operating mode. The interface should interact with Figma's multi-user interface. Let's see. Okay, yeah, let's go with these. As I said, Agent Studio. Active agents. Project scope, current goal. I mean, that's an interesting idea, right? So have active agents work in parallel on whatever you're building. So that's building mode. Interesting. You describe what you want to build. But I'm not so sure about this idea here, because it's definitely going to be, I think switching between building and verifying mode is is something that is going to be much more granular than these, right? And you almost kind of want to be doing both at the same time. So I'm kind of almost thinking like you'd want to have, let's read this through now, that you'd kind of want to have that as agents that do both things, that actually do the build, and then there's some other process that is verifying while it's being built. You know what I mean? So that you also avoid things getting out of control. And then this verifying is what's going to be interesting, right? Because what is it going to be? A visual verification? Is it going to be a test? Test verification? Is it going to be something? Yeah, it's. I think that's what's going to be interesting. But I mean, basically, this is what it seems like it's building, right? So ready to verify, upcoming tasks. I mean, this is something that I that's an interesting thing, right? So you kind of have like, what are the upcoming tasks of the agent? Building mode. Describe what you want to build. Agent Studio. I don't know if I want to go with the web app. I don't know if I want to go with the web app, because that, it just feels, for local usage, it just feels overblown. It feels like you have the flexibility of the front end design, but then you kind of have to spin off a server. Yeah, I don't know. It's always tricky. But then what, you build a native app, or just like a command line? That would be the best, right? Where you kind of have like a command line tool for these. But then a command line tool is not going to be too user friendly in terms of like tasks and whatnot. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, and here was, what is it? Okay, so approve. It's called agent workspace. Let's see what it comes out with. And what did Grok say? So it's task-oriented dashboard. So there's a task section, an agent section, manages the conversion and monitoring of the agents, available agents, working, idle, offline. Okay, permissions, task preferences, performance metrics to evaluate agents' efficiency, playground, chat-based interface, acts as a primary hub for interacting with the agents to build and verify code. I mean, that's the interesting. Can we break away from the chat interface? I mean, you can't, right? Because you have to talk to the agents. For agent commands, embedded code editors that appear within the chat when you request. This is also traditional support for both natural language and direct code manipulation. A verification section, run tests, lean code, perform custom verification tasks. Not happy with either of these. Creating a task, go to the task section, create a task. Creating tasks feels too much like a Jira workflow. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel right. Because this thing should be able to understand what are the tasks and make the tasks their own. Monitoring progress, interacting with an agent, verifying the code, run the tests, verification, completing the task, satisfied, operations. It's somehow very naive. I think it's just barely scratched the surface. And that looks like this, and that looks like pretty much the same. Yeah, so there's a live preview. Code builder, test runner, optimizer. So you have the agents, you have building mode, and it actually shows the why. Like that's the point. That's what I want to. That's what I don't want to have. Like I don't want to have that, because the whole point of like AI assisted building is that you don't care about the code anymore. Like I want to go to the extreme. I really want to go to the extreme, and maybe do something where you actually have in terms of verification like some sort of like a report that maybe does make mention on about like codes and code lines and whatnot. But I don't wanna see. It looks fancy, right? Because you see some code and whatnot. But and you can maybe see the agent doing or making mistakes and whatnot. But that's the point is. I want to make looking at code difficult, but I also want to make manual intervention easy. And I like the concept of agents that have like a system prompt that is a bit more focused on like a specific task. But I definitely don't like the building and verifying modes to be so clearly distinctive. I think it should just be. I think it just should be the way that you're building. I think it should just be an agent that does the verification. Basically, that's it. I think it just should be agents all the way down from that perspective. With an activity. But you want to understand what the agents are doing, obviously. The lines of code they're building, maybe the code they're building, the changes they're making. And then I guess as the project grows, you want to make sure that the agents are constantly trying to have a good grasp of what the project looks like, so that there's no duplication of things, of code. There's no like shit like these, and that shit kind of, and that stuff that is not used then gets basically also deprecated, right? I just don't. I don't like a web UI for these. I think a web UI for these is just, it's kind of not good. I mean, it's not the point of, it feels an overkill because you kind of have to essentially run a server, and that's something that I don't really want to do. So I'm almost like thinking to just like teach both concepts, because yeah, it's just not nice. But then Grok, I wanna know from Grok what tools exist out there to create a reach command line interfaces, reach and customizable. Perplexity, reach, prompt toolkit, Rust, all languages. Click composable beautiful please. Can I get the, I want to get the link to these. I want to get the, baby, yeah. I want to get the link to this. Click PHP click. Okay, click. So tutorials, quick start. Okay, I think it's time over. Baby said it's time over. there's nothing. There's nothing. I want to see some. I want to see some visuals. Click. Welcome to Click. Beautiful command line interfaces. Composable way as little as code is necessary. Command line interface creation kit. Can I see some examples? I want to see some examples. Like, I want to see actual visuals. Can you show me something? Can you show me something? Like what? Like what the heck? Ah, here, example. Very application can read files. Yeah, okay, fine. But then I need to actually. I want to see screenshots. Do you have a screenshot? Repo complex. Like. Oh. Is it so difficult? Beautiful, clean interfaces. Because I want to do something. I want to do something that is, you know, yeah, like that is, you know, flexible. So what is the, for example? Because I mean, this is just the terminal thing where you can basically have like multiple sessions and whatnot, right? But that's not per se like. It's a multiplexer, okay. Okay, it's just so that's just like, but there's no framework that comes with it or anything where you can actually just build applications. Anyway, I'm gonna think about these, but I think I'm really still not clear about that. It's hard, but I'm not really fully sure what I actually wanna do. The web app doesn't feel good, and the client interface, the CLI interface, might be actually a tricky one to build, but probably it's the way to go. Probably it's the way to go. Well, a set of command tools, maybe, right? Spin-off agents. Have one tool that shows everything that's going on, something like this. I have to think about this.